Mazama campgrounds. I'm gonna go hike down to the Pacific Crest Trail, which is a mile from here, and between 17.5 and 18.5 miles down to the red cone trailhead. Brisk morning. It's about 45 degrees. Rained yesterday, pretty heavy, but it's looking like a beautiful morning to this blue skies. We are all the way into September 2nd now. So hoping for a good hike today. Hopefully my knees won't hang up, as I haven't been on the trail much for this year. Let's get over to the Pacific Crest Trail. Got the spring coming out here. This must be the Annie Spring. Already got water this morning, but that looks really clear. Interesting. Be like a gate house or something for the water. So on the spur trail, PCT, 0.5 miles up there. Good morning. Yeah, this is already different landscape than I've been hiking in on the Pacific Northwest Trail, which my son and I are up to Baker Lake. We're going to be hiking that in a couple of weeks around Baker Lake, up to the ski area around Mount Baker, and then all the way to Hannigan Pass Trailhead, which is as far as we can go this year, with the trail still being closed through our North Cascades National Park because of the fires last year. They're actually having fires this year, right now, burning around Sourdough Mountain, which we hiked last year. So that trail that we were on, all that video is essentially historical for us anyways. That was a great trip. We had that lookout up there. They wrapped in basically like foil to try to save it because it's a historical fire. Oh look, this must be the trail. Pacific Crest Trail. All right, that's south. We're gonna be heading north. All right, I'm gonna finish off my coffee, get my poles out. Good morning. So, my name is Mark. Yes, this is probably the first time I've been talking to the camera. It's going to be a bit awkward for a little while. But, just started this channel, The Gnarly Viking, not too long ago, showcasing how my son and I started hiking the Pacific Northwest Trail back in 2020, and that's really my jump into doing more through hiking. And of course, I got, my son was 8 years old starting at that time, and so he had a 20-pound pack on, mine was about 40, and I am about $130 when wet. And so that was a lot of weight, and we've been watching videos, much better than this one for right now, to learn how to lighten our load and make it more an enjoyable thing. Oop, we got another animal. Oh, that's another deer. Wow, lots of animals out here this morning on the Pacific Crest Trail. Anyways, yeah, so, but in addition to showing you the Pacific Northwest Trail as we do it section by section over the years, we'll be finishing that up in a couple of years, actually 3 years. We're going to be finishing up the last half of it in 2 years time, really doing more like a through hike. But anyways, and I'm finding out that one of the things the camera will not do is I can't get it zoomed out anymore in this mode when it's pointed at you, which I don't like, because I'd like to be able to show you less of my face and more of what's going on around me when I'm hiking along the trail. I am interested in getting a simple gimbal. They're really pretty cheap for camera phones. I think that'll help quite a bit. I'm gonna be looking at that for a maybe a Christmas gift or a birthday gift. Hey, Anna. Beautiful stream. Easy rock. Sure you could find some good campsite around here. Dead ones to look at, but probably wouldn't go there. It's amazing this late in the season you still have wildflowers. Dutton Creek Trail goes to hikers only, no stock permitted. Hey, found my first Pacific Crest Trail sign. I got a little rock hop. See if I can manage to get across without spilling the beans. Get my feet wet. So I don't expect to see too many Pacific Crest Trail through hikers in Crater Lake this late in the season. Like I said, this is September 2nd. And the last post that I've seen on Far Out app was like around August 23rd, at least so far anyways. But I don't even know if those are through hikers or just little section hikers like me. My feet are wet now because of all the dew on the grass going through this section. That's okay. Got the darn Tufts on. My favorite, the number 2s. Warm-ish, even when wet. I don't plan on doing any gear review things. There's plenty of channels that do that. But I will give my opinions on the equipment that I have used or am using that is so durable and comfortable, at least for the amount of miles that I've done. So anyways, yeah, and my darn Tufts are covering my feet. My feet are then in Lone Peaks. So I started off with Lone Peak 5s. They're black ones. Love those to death. Those did me, well, of the 400 miles that we've done the Pacific Northwest Trail, it's done a significant portion of that. Maybe 300 miles. Plus I've done a bunch of other hiking in those shoes. So they got probably 500 miles or so before I relegated them to around the house. Definitely holes in them. They're still comfortable, although the cushioning has definitely worn out. Fit was perfect on those. Going up and down mountain trails, they stayed in place. My foot didn't shift one way or another. Never had a blister in those. Then I went looking for newer pairs. The brand new ones are just too expensive for me. I'm not willing to pay full price. So looking around, I found that you can buy, used Ultras on eBay or wherever, and based on the condition of them, decided I was going to try buy a used pair. Now, it was misadvertised as being Lone Peak 6. It was actually a Lone Peak 4. And so, anyways, I bought them. The price was good. And found out that no, they're actually, I don't know if it's too wide, the toe box or something, but my foot shifts all around in that. We did the hike up Sourdough Mountain with that, and I didn't get a blister, but I could definitely feel the heat from the friction. So those have been relegated to just my daily wear. Went looking for some other ones. Found these, which are Lone Peak 5s again. So got a good deal on them. They're really good shape. And so I'm going to be using these for hiking until they wear out. Do the same thing. Maybe we can find some more Lone Peak 5s or take a chance on the Lone Peak 6 or 7, depending upon what I can find, the price. But yeah, Ultras, I really like the fit of them. Very comfortable. And the Lone Peaks have the cushion that I need. I'm 46 years old, and I can't get by with the thinner ones. These ones give me enough feel of the trail and enough cushion to make it even not entirely a horrible experience when I'm doing road hikes, which on the Pacific Northwest Trail, it's quite a bit of that. So yeah, feet get tired hiking on pavement, but they seem to be pretty good. All right, nice flat long section here. Beautiful pine forest in here. And earlier hiking this year, I went through a pine forest and had that pine smell hit me. Haven't smelled that here. It's a very clean smell in here. But also the undergrowth here is just primarily grass. These little shrubs. And I'm used to the thick undergrowth out where I live, where you've got evergreen huckleberry, salal, and of course every once in a while you'll get a patch of blackberries. It just makes it nearly impossible to get in there now. It makes it difficult for finding a campsite. But yeah, soon we're going to be hiking out in eastern Washington, and it'll be completely different. Probably look a little bit more like this, I imagine. Pines, and not a whole lot of undergrowth. Starting to get a little bit of cloud cover. Temperature's still perfect for hiking though. It's funny how this is what you see a lot of in people's videos, especially those that don't go hiking that much, whatever. They show how beautiful these streams are crossing the trail, and yeah, it's true, they are beautiful, especially if you're thirsty. But then you don't get to see much of the trail, and there are many spots on the trails that you're just going through this beautiful forest, and it's just wonderful, showing God's creation. The sun feels good on my back. Beautiful hiking through these forests. The other thing that I've noticed here is that in the Pacific Crest Trail, definitely a more well-established trail than the Pacific Northwest Trail. But there are sections of the Olympic National Park has some pretty well-established trails, although the ones that, for instance, the one going over Hayden Pass, where you go down into the Dos Wallops river basin there, well, the beginning of that is pretty overgrown because not that many people go through there. But the little I've seen of the Pacific Crest Trail, which I granted is not many miles, it's all been these very well groomed, very well maintained trails. And for the number of people that are hiking these, I would hope that local groups help support the association to keep them maintained for everyone to enjoy, whether it's through hikers or day hikers. So this portion of the Pacific Crest Trail is the red line. It goes around, we're essentially on the side of the massive volcano that is Crater Lake. The blue line goes up to the ridge and hikes along the ridge, the western ridge of the crater. And you'd think, oh, well, it should be the red line up there, to be able to see Crater Lake, very, very cool thing to see, like one of the jewels of this trail. But I can also see from a thru hiker's standpoint, sometimes these national parks require that you camp at specific campsites that are designated, which in this case is partially true. You can camp at established campground campsites where you could do the blue line that way. But if you're not interested in doing that, you're interested in still seeing beautiful land, and every once in a while you get reminded of the fact that you're hiking on the side of a volcano when you see volcanic rock. But this path, as it exists right now, allows you much more opportunity to camp wherever you want. I believe it's within 1 mile of the trail, essentially. Basically, they want you to stay in the corridor for the Pacific Crest Trail, and then it's fine for dispersed camping. And there's some beautiful campsites along this trail that I've already seen that are close to those, either seasonal streams or the one big stream there. But in any case, still having to watch out for those widow makers when you set up your tent, because there could be quite a few of them based on all these trees that looks like wind or snowy conditions snapped off the tops of them, and those could still come down. Glad I'm hiking this trail. It's a beautiful trail, beautiful portion of Pacific Crest Trail. And of course we'll do the touristy thing with my family tomorrow to go see the lake and experience the national park. So this is one of those burn areas, and you can see the new trees growing up coming in after it. But it's also, you get a chance to see charred things that are due to a lot hotter fire, like this volcanic rock. There are benefits of hiking through a burn area. You get to see way ahead. It also lets in more light, more of that sun warm me up. Although, looks like as soon as I get down to this creek, then I'm going up for the rest of the day. It's interesting, all the bark falls off the trees. It's just been burned. I'm guessing, based on the size of these trees, probably 10 years or so ago when this burn happened. So looking at the map, yeah, Red Cone is where I'm going to be hiking around. I'm not going up to the top of Red Cone, but that is generally the direction that I'm headed. So up and around, I believe that high point there is where I'm going to be ended up on the other side of that. So given my legs are feeling like I haven't hiked in a long time, but I'm not feeling like jelly. My knee's doing fairly well, especially having gone downhill, which is usually the hardest on my knee. Should be able to get this hike done. This is just one of my things that I like to do when we go to the national parks, which we're trying to do as many of the national parks as we can before my son leaves the house, goes off, does college, whatever. Trying to see as many of them as we can. When we go to a national park, I like to, have a day where we go do the touristy thing, go see the park from the standpoint of, the wayside rest or the overlooks, go to the visitor center. My wife gets the stamp for her passport. The next day, or the other day that we're there, if we're only there for 2 days, I want to do this. I want to go and do a hike so that I can experience or have a different experience of the national park, see a different part of it. And that sometimes nobody else will go and see. The only thing they will see is what's from the road. And like back in here, I can't even hear the road noise. I heard it this morning, but when I'm way back here, I don't hear any road noise. It's just me back here, the wind through the trees, and I get to see chipmunks running around. And sometimes I have my son, come along with maybe half of these hikes, just so that he has one of these experiences as well. I've been giving him a choice. Most of the time he chooses the less mileage ones. But like, we just did the Appalachian Trail, a little bit of it, in the Great Smoky Mountains. And there we hiked from Newfoundland Gap up to Clean Winds Dome. So that was a good, another kick your butt up hike, up an elevation. And there, the elevation, once you get up to the top, is basically the elevation here, 6,000 plus feet. So yeah, we were dealing with the elevation issues as well. Although, really, I'm doing pretty good. And the smoke is pretty much cleared out since we had a deluge of rain yesterday that we actually were driving through. Very foggy up there on the rim coming around. Barely see the road, definitely had to slow down. But it cleared out all the smoke that's been around here in southern Oregon, northern California region. And hopefully that rain is helping to squash some of those fires to get the smoke down. Doesn't look too difficult to get across. Rock hopping again. Looking forward to the Pacific Northwest Trail section hike that we do. We get to go across the Swift Creek, which is probably actually going to be a ford, but at this time of year, it's a whole lot easier ford than, say, July time frame. Beautiful little stream, nice shade. I think I will take a water break here and then keep on keeping on. Hiking through these burn areas, you got blowdowns that can happen anytime. I've got to go over several of them so far. Plus you get the grass and foliage, and since it rained a lot last night and there's dew, as I'm walking through this burn area, all this grass, every once in a while I smell elk, because the elk love to feed on these meadows. We did see an elk actually crossing the road on our way into the north entrance yesterday. Just one delightful little jaunt through the burning forest. Get to feel the breeze, the sun's out, wildflowers in the midst of this. This portion of the trail has actually been fairly well cleared. Hasn't been any serious up yet. That's when we'll feel the elevation. Back into the forest now. the non-burnt forest. I'm just glad that I was not hiking yesterday. This would have been like hiking up a stream. All the paths are just washed clean. Makes it easy to see that nobody's been out here before me this morning, and I can see when animals have been recently by here. Mostly deer. So what I was looking at earlier today, I think it's actually Hillman Peak off there in the distance. I've hiked way around it, but that is not Red Dome. In and out of burn areas of different ages. This one, you can see there are many small trees starting to grow. So this fire, yeah, maybe 5 years ago. Probably been hearing clackety clackety clack go on in my videos today. That would be due to that, which is my new neck knife that I bought in just Pigeon Forge, close by there, Tennessee. And evidently that is the largest knife store in, I guess, the world. Big knife store. Decided, hey, it's time. I want a nice lightweight neck knife, 3-inch blade, for last ditch. I'm being chewed on by an animal and need to defend myself or my son. I was in and out of that place in, I don't know, 15 minutes, something like that, because I knew exactly what I wanted. Anyways, the racketiness is because it's a metal bead necklace thing that wraps it around the plastic sheath. So I'll likely be replacing that so it's not noisy, but at least I've got it up to the height that I want it so that it is not bouncing around my body too much. It's mostly for thinking about the next couple of years. We're going to start hiking into grizzly country, and this is not the first line of defense. First line of defense, of course, is bear spray. Bear spray is a lot more effective, especially with my aim, than a pistol, and a whole lot more, or a whole lot lighter weight than a pistol. And of course, we don't want to be killing animals just because they charged at us, because we startled them. Trying to be a good steward of creation, as Trail Life says, and that the Lord wants us to take care of His creation. Yeah, so that's right down. You see that the trail goes straight towards it, and it goes around the west side of it. Another recent burn area. All just grass right now. I've probably been saying Red Dome. It's not Red Dome. It's Red Cone. It does kind of look reddish from the volcanic rock. Yes, that would be my satellite communicator. Sending off my hourly, I'm still alive, all goods in the woods, to my wife. So that hopefully she can get to some cell service and see how fast I'm going. Add a half hour to that because I'll be slowing down as my knee gets worse. Yeah. Surprisingly, it's my left knee this time around. We'll see how far I go before I think about my performance enhancing drug of choice, ibuprofen. Probably 3 miles. Hiking around Red Cone. And it's just starting to sprinkle. We'll see how I look out or not. Hobble into the trailhead. Obviously, too much for my legs to do this mileage. But oh well. I will recover for 2 weeks from now when we hike PNT around Baker Lake. Look at the growth rings on these trees. They may start out growing fast, but then get narrower, narrower, narrower. The trees here, very skinny, tall. They probably have a short growing season given it's up here at 6,000 foot elevation. And then, of course, they get crowded, so they gotta go tall. Oh boy. Just in time for more fun. Not in the sun. It's looking like some thunderstorms. .305. Made it.